Hey everybody, I haven't made a video in forever, but I'm finally getting back into my journaling groove, so I thought that I would kind of walk through what I'm doing as of mid-year. I asked on Instagram if anybody wanted to see everything that I'm currently using, and I got one yes, so apparently that's all it takes. I'm just going to kind of walk through everything I have in this stack here from top to bottom. So, hold on. This is brand new. It is a blue sky planner that I got on Amazon. It is not the pocket one because I did go to Target, looked at the pocket size in person, and it was like this big, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to write in that with my handwriting. So this is a 5x8 size. I found one type online that had it's like a dashboard layout. So you have all your days of the week here, and then like a giant list on this side with priorities. So I got this, and originally I was going to, I decorated it. This is my family. It does have a pocket here, so I just printed off a picture that I made on Canva. This is it's a freebie that I got from one of my old Coffee Monster Co. orders. It has another pocket for like, I have Post-its in here. And then I made this as well. This is just covering up something I didn't need to use. Some sticky notes that I chucked in here. And then I took out the May and June monthly calendars. Originally, I was going to use this as like an on-the-go planner, so I put my entire month of July in here. This is not what I'm going to end up using it for. And I tested out a week in here. And it's fine. I mean, it's really functional for the way that I plan, but it's just not really inspiring. But I did think that it would be really good for when I go back to work tomorrow, because today is Tuesday. So I just thought it would be good to have like a running to-do list, and then like my meetings and things like that, or like if I have to leave early from work, I can notate that in here. So that's kind of all I've done so far in this guy. But it was not really expensive. I think this was like $13 on Amazon. My primary personal planner, I've gone in and out of this all year, but I keep pulling it back out. I've tried other things and I keep taking this thing back out. So the way that I have been using this is like a combo of pretty planning and functional planning. So I just kind of show you a little bit of what I have in here. This is some pictures of my family. I did write an index in here, but I've not really kept up with it. I put some mood boards in here that I printed off on just like a standard printer. I didn't use this page. I don't know what to use it for. It doesn't really make sense to me. I've tried using this for habit tracking, obviously, but that didn't really make sense. I tried again. It doesn't really work very well for me. I'm not a big habit tracker. I've struggled to keep up with it, so I've not done anything in here for Q3. I did plan to start. I got this before the start of 2025, so I did start planning in it about a week or two early. So I did fill out December, and I feel like this is a really good example of me planning, and this is my style, where I will put my plans in here and then I will go back in later and add extra stickers, things that like I don't necessarily need these days, so I'm just going to add big stickers in to make it look pretty. I did buy some of these Coffee Monster Co. monthly kits, and they are cute, but I didn't want to, I only bought a couple of them, so I just used them in the first couple of months. Here's March. This is when I started to kind of dip out of it because I was getting towards the end of my pregnancy and I was really struggling, so I wasn't in it. April, I had just had my son, so I didn't use my planner at all. And then May is when I hopped back in here right around this time frame. So I planned May, and then we have June, and then current month, which I have tabbed off. This is July right now. As far as my weeklies go, I did start off this planner as more of like a memory keeper. So I was having a running task list, and then I would put in my appointments ahead of time, and then I would add in things, tip in pictures. I was using some Mandy Plans kits that I got, and I was trying to stretch them through the entire month. So all of January has this fun winter bears theme. And yeah, this is kind of an example of like when I'm using it more of a memory keeper. These are all back plans. And then here's more of the Mandy Plans kit and more back planning. And then this is very much back planned. I did not do any of this until probably Friday or Saturday. And so yeah, I kind of was in a more memory planning. Here's where I stopped. You can definitely see the point where I stopped was here. And then this is mid-May. I was not in this, or sorry, mid-February. I did not come back into my weeks until the first full week of May. And when I did, I kind of gravitated more towards this layout that I found that was kind of inspired by my Dandelion Diaries, where you have your events up towards the top, and then you have the open space at the bottom that you can do more functional lists for it. So a lot of these I will fill out some of it ahead of time and then go back and kind of fill it in with pictures or stuff. So like Target trip. I feel like this helps me be more functional with a planner as opposed to time blocking, which I'm not very good at. This was my birthday week, and I really liked the way that this spread turned out. And then this is an old Cocoa Daisy kit from last year that I bought at a discount. So I played with this Cocoa Daisy kit for the entire month of June, because I did subscribe to Cocoa Daisy starting in July. So here's all of June. I was thinking about switching into my Hobonichi Avec for my weekly planning, but I ended up immediately saying, no, I really like this B6 size. So I was starting to get ready to switch over to Hobonichi, so I wasn't really using it as much this week, plus we went on vacation this week. And then last week, I did not plan at all in this, but then I did come back in this week and love it just as much as before. So this is kind of slightly inspired by my Dandelion Diaries, slightly inspired a little bit by Beautiful Mess Plans. Both of their styles really resonate with me, so I think I'm going to continue with this kind of style unless I need to change it for some reason. As far as my daily pages, I did start early. So I did originally put some collections in the very front. So like yearly goals, an adulting log that I never use, some of my standard collections, which I've not been keeping up with the collections in this book. I've moved them. And then I did start the last week of December in this book. So the way that I have used it, I started off with more of a memory keeping style where I was keeping notes on specific things that were happening. I was on vacation a lot Christmas week, so I did not have a lot of like to-do plans. So this was a lot more memory keeping style. And then when we get into January, I was still using it as like a diary sort of thing. And then for a while I went back to my bullet journaling style where I had like different sections and then a day per page. Currently, when I hopped back in May, is kind of my current style. I was like, okay, well, we'll go back to doing some diary plans. And I did start with that. And then in June, I really feel like I hit my stride with more of a today list. And then if I have room, I will write a little bit about what happened that day. Going into June, this has been kind of my ideal daily page. So to-do list, if I have room, I'll do a little bit of note taking or maybe a quote that really resonated with me that day. And the weekends, I kind of don't really do a time block. I will just take some to-dos for the weekend. So here's some more to-dos. I like to pre-decorate them ahead of time, so that way it's just pen and paper on the day of. And sometimes I'll go back in later and add a sticker or two, but yeah, sometimes there's almost nothing on the page. Sometimes I forget to do some pages, and then this is the last couple days. So I've used about 145 pages so far, and this is a full year, so it's got 367, so I definitely have more than enough pages left in this book. It's just whether or not I want this chunky book next year, or I want to split it into two with the half years. I did buy an Avec, like I said, with the intention of moving solely into this book. However, I really don't love the weeklies in here. I did try to put a weekly in here. I can show you what last week's looked like. So it looked like this. I barely used it. And that's kind of how my weeklies always end up in a hobonichi, is I barely use them. Even though this really isn't a different layout so much. I was having some issues with bleeding on the pages. But I thought instead that maybe I would just use it for like a day per page. Just use the dailies and just write about what happened that day. And, you know, put pictures in here as I want. But if I don't fill it out that much, then I won't. But yeah, I just thought this would be a good place to just kind of capture a little bit about what happened that day and not waste this book. So I could have a cute little archive of what happened in the second half of the year. This baby I am obsessed with. This is my happy planner. It's a classic vertical size. I got it on sale because they have sales all the time. So I got it at like 30% off. And it's an 18-month planner. The one thing I didn't realize when I bought it, which is my own fault because I've never bought a happy planner before, is that all of the pages are seasonally color coded. So like, for example, if I pull up a random month, this is January, it's got like a winter theme. If I go to May, it's got little flowers in it, which is like cute and seasonal, but like it might not match the stickers that I want to put on it. So it's just something that I have to keep in mind when I'm planning. So far I've just covered a lot of it up. This did just start in July, so I'm not very far in this, but I thought I would just kind of show what I have so far. I've been obsessively watching happy planner videos, and I am solely using this with the intention of it being like memory keeping and decorative. This is a currently page for July that I decorated with some of my Cocoa Daisy kit. I am keeping one memory or good thing that happened per day in my monthly. I'm not using this for any forward planning other than like I know my daughter turns 3 that day. This was last week for 4th of July. And I'm really obsessed with how this spread turned out. I think it's super cute. And then this week so far, we have more of like a fish nautical theme. And then I just finished setting up next week, so that way I am ready to go. And I've set that up with one of the Happy Planner sticker kits, which I think that one's like Modern Blooms or Bright Blooms or something like that. So yeah, I do sometimes put my plans in here, but they're more of like, here's what I did that day, as opposed to like, I need to remember that these appointments are happening, because I have a different book for that. My last book is this guy. This is a Carpe Diem Traveler's Notebook from Amazon. I do not have Traveler's Notebook inserts in here, just to warn you guys. I have B6 books in here, but I couldn't find a cheap B6 kit or cover, and I thought this one looked cute, and I figured why not, because they basically fit. I have 2 books in here. This is a B6 book that I got on Amazon. I think it was like $6. And this houses just collections. So the paper quality is not great. It is kind of bleedy, but I don't really care right now. I was sick of putting these collections into every new journal that I had. So I put them in their own book. I have shops to try, baking bucket list, books to read, finishing the author, like a wish list, my breast milk collection, when we're doing meat smoking, how did it go, like ranking it, what did we heat it up at, future house projects, TV shows to try, and if I tried or finished them. I'm still trying to work on finishing this book up, but I don't have very many collections. That's about how far I am so far. I also have my B6 stalogy in here, and I've deemed this my no rules book. So this is where I put everything that doesn't fit on like what happened that day, or sometimes if I have more to say in a journaling session, I will journal in here. And I've deemed this that anything can go in here. This did start out as a bullet journal, so I do have some like planning stuff in here. And then I made this page, and I really loved this page, and I loved kind of the junk journaling aspect of it, but I didn't want to start another junk journal. And so then I wrote some about when I was watching reading Throne of Glass. I was watching All American Rejects on TikTok, so I put some songs on there. I print stuff off and put it in here. I sometimes do writing prompts or journaling prompts in here. Here's some new washi tapes I got. Here's another junk journaling spread that I did from a date I had with my husband. And yeah, sometimes I just journal. Here's where I was writing about Severance and what I was thinking about the season as we were watching it. Here's, some blank, and then my daughter put these stickers on the bottom, and I was like, those are pretty cute, so I'm going to keep them on here because she likes to help. I also put cards in here that people make for me because they took the time to make them, so I think I should keep them. More junk journaling spreads. And then, yeah, I put like invitations in here. Sometimes my dailies end up in here randomly. Here's some more Throne of Glass notes. And, yeah, just like things that don't really fit anywhere else are going in this book, and I have a ton of room left in this book. So yeah, that's kind of what my system looks like right now. It feels like a little bit too much, to be honest, but I'm sure once I go back to work, some of this will get put on the back burner for a little while. But it is really creatively inspiring me right now, especially this guy. I'm really in love with this guy. I'm really glad I purchased it. This one, I need it, but it's really not inspiring me right now. So I need to find out what to do to help it inspire me, or find a way to put it aside and just start with something else, because I like this system, but I need the information in here, but I don't love the book. And it's not necessarily that I don't like Sterling Ink brand. it's just such a hefty book, and I feel like a lot of times the stuff I'm writing in here is just repetitive information over and over, week after week. But I don't know how to fix that. So if anybody has any suggestions or understands where I'm coming from, let me know. And if you have any suggestions on what I could try instead, let me know that too. All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye.